I know in the space, kind of in the real estate space right now, a lot of people are very obsessed with social media marketing. Um, you kind of come from the almost the complete opposite end of that stick, where you're not very active on social media at all, but
Mm.
you've been very, fairly successful in your first
Yeah.
year, getting a lot of clients. So how have you been succeeding without using social media? I know this is an interesting question you don't really hear a lot of. So
Right. 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 So I think the way I've been fortunate enough where they have been referrals. So
right,
I think that helps, is that word of mouth. Again, I think again it's about relationships. People have always told me, and my husband would always tease me, is about you have a sign on your forehead that says, "Please talk to me and tell me your problems."
right,
And I think more of it is just being a good listener. And I think that was just, with my training as being an educator, that we have to listen in order to help. It's not so much solving your problem, it's listening and helping you through the process of you solving that problem. Because if you want something, I will help you get to that place, but I can't do it for you. So, I always like to liken it to the medical field. It used to be you went to your physician and they gave you whatever the diagnosis is and you did XYZ. Well, now they always tell you you're part of this decision making as far as your wellness. And I think it's the same thing. The same thing has to be about economics and wealth building now, because wealth building it's not always just buying a house, but that's a great starting point as far as for folks to begin to start that pattern. And then, as far as investments and things like that. So, and it's not always just stocks and bonds, because we know that fluctuates at, going back and forth. But when you're buying property, especially if you're buying land does not depreciate. The property may, the structure may, but your land is never going to, depreciate. So it's having those conversations and always letting people know that they're part of this plan, this process. I'll walk that path down with you, but I can't do it by myself. I
right.
can't do this for you. You have to be there with me, but I will guide you on that. So I think that's that's how I engage. Like, for instance, a couple of weeks when I did my listing, I had to get some printouts. I wanted to get some printouts for, flyers for me and the mortgage loan originator. So on one side, it had my picture with all my information about the listing. And then on the flip side, it has his picture with all the information about getting the loan. So I was at the UPS store. The gentleman was printing out. He goes, "Oh, I really like this house, blah, blah, blah." He goes, "How much is it?" And I said, whatever the price was. And he says, I said, "Are you looking for a home?" He says, "Yes." He's looking for a sister. And that was another referral I picked up. So yes, I think social media has its place, but I think you have to be really adept at that right now. And as an educator, and that's just who I am. If I haven't perfected, I'm not going to go out there and just test. I have to. That's not the space that I'm in right now, and I don't think it's really hurt me. I'm sure it will help me over time. So I am looking at some other avenues right now on how to do that. Yes.
Right. That's an awesome story. I think, just kind of printing out the flyer for
Yes.
a listing that you had, and then you got a lead from it, which is,
Yes. Yes.
it's something that agents don't really think about, especially because I think in this day and age, because it's so easy to build your own Facebook marketing page, or just do
Mhm.
something like that. A lot of agents are relying on social media, and they're trying to rely on something that they, like you said, they haven't perfected, and they don't really
Mhm.
know how it works. And
Right.
they think it's working, but it's, they're not doing much of anything on there.
Right.
So I think it's very important to be, for somebody starting out, to be resourceful, like, just like that story of, talking to anybody kind of that you're meeting, and you're just in your
Right.
daily life, and
Mhm.
just being able to offer them some support, some help, and some education and information, so that they'll be
Mhm.
able to either become a client, or in this case, become a referral, which
Referral.
is,
Yeah.
very overlooked, the referral side of things, I think,
Yes.
for a lot of
Yes.
people. So,
Yes.
um, yeah, being resourceful is very important. And then, just having the information out there, where putting yourself out there is, I guess that's not too much of an issue, right? Putting yourself out there and just starting
No,
conversations.
right, no, yeah, and it is. It's about starting those conversations, and then sort of nurturing those conversations. It's interesting. Somebody, actually, it was my son who told me this morning. He says, he used to belong to fortune builders, and he says, one of the sayings was, "Your net worth is your network." And I said, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that." So the people that you sort of surround with, and you're building, I guess, what we call in real estate, building your database, is always going back and you're sort of nurturing them, having those conversations. What does that look like?